How are you? I'm John.
John, nice to meet you. I'm Kim.
Meet you too.
We've been expecting you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Let me get the door for you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Very nice place here.
Thank you. Welcome. It's a hot day today. Would you like some water?
I would. That'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
There you are.
Oh, thank you so much.
I'll get Jack for you. We'll
Thank
be right with
Thank
you.
Thank you.
John's here to see you.
Oh, okay.
This is Jack.
Hey,
John.
How are you?
John, nice to meet you.
man. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Kim.
You're welcome.
So, John, what brings you here?
Well, I do a little bit of searching on the internet, and I came across Manny the Techie's website.
Matty the Techie, that's an interesting story. He had contacted us to reconnect his T900, which is one of these pagers from about 35 years ago. And he's in, I think, the Texas area. And we connected it. Unfortunately, it didn't work for him. But we didn't know he had a presence. He's on TikTok with about 60,000 followers. And he does a lot of tech reviews, old tech, new tech. So out of the blue, we get a phone call from someone. Said, yeah, I saw on TikTok that you can reconnect pagers. I'm like, we're not on TikTok. So then we found out about Matty. And in conversing with him, we offered to send him some pagers for him to review. So it's interesting that you found them and you're local to our office.
Right. Well, the thing that gets me is that the pagers. I mean, it's just technology that seems to be just so old. I'm just kind of shocked, like anybody even still uses them or has them. I mean, I walk around, I don't see anybody even. You know, the old days I saw them on their belt buckle or on their side, attached to them, or they answer them. Now you never see anybody. It's always a smartphone. So does this actually even exist? Or
yeah,
what,
it's
or
actually
it's
a common misconception that pagers died 20 years ago with the advent of the phone. And when I tell people that we sell pagers, they look at me like I have 3 heads, like pagers. Who has pagers anymore? But believe it or not, there's still about 2 million of pagers in use in the United States, and mostly by healthcare, medical professionals, business people, and people that have a special need for urgent notification. So back in the 80s and 90s, when this was the popular cell phone,
I remember
this
those.
is a Motorola DPC 550. Battery didn't last too long, a little bulky to carry in your pocket.
Very big. Yeah.
So pagers there were about 60 million of them in use back then.
Right.
And then as the mainstream gravitated towards phone plans came down, battery life started getting longer. The majority of people don't need a pager. And when people ask me, like, why would anyone need a pager? I'm telling them flat out, you probably don't need a pager. But for the 2 million that use them, they have a specific need to fill.
Right. So I mean, I'm retired. So I mean, would a guy like me even need a pager? I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, would the cell phone suffice, or?
It probably would, John. It's not like I'm calling people and say, hey, you want to buy a pager? That doesn't happen. People find us online. They search pagers on Google. In your case, you found a social media site or a TikTok site where they were talking about old tech. So people find us in different ways. A lot of word of mouth. People that have a pager and they work in an environment where other people need a pager, they'll refer them to us, and that's where people find us. But I can give you some brief overviews on why people are using pagers today.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice. I guess I'm concerned with or just wondering with the technology. Like, you can get a text message for a phone really quick, like instant on your cell phone. Now, sometimes there might be some patching in the internet. You may not get it for a couple hours.
Right.
Or how reliable is pagers? Are they more reliable than cell phone, you think, or about the same?
Well, in some cases they're more reliable because where pagers work, they work very, very well. There isn't coverage everywhere. I always suggest before you even go to our website and order a pager, we have a link right up here that says be sure to check the coverage maps before ordering, and when you click on it, it takes you down. There's a list of every state, and for example, I'll go to New Jersey. You can click on here and you'll see in the blue areas, that's where there's coverage. If it's white, there's no coverage. So You'll know right off the bat if it's gonna work for you or not.
Would the cell phone, if the areas that are white for pagers wouldn't have any reception, would the cell phone, or you know, how did they? I guess it sounds like you might be able to use them in conjunction with one another to.
Well, that's what we recommend. It's people look at it as a competition. Like, why would I use a pager instead of a phone? I wouldn't recommend that. You need a phone to call the person back who paged you. So you're going to need a phone, but the pager could work in areas. For example, in healthcare, hospitals have the ER where they're doing operations and operating room, I should say. There's a lot of dead spots on cellular. So paging seems to pick up in these areas. So that's one example. Another reason why people like paging is because of the battery life. You can put a AAA battery in a pager. It's going to last a month. Keep it on 24 hours a day. Cell phones, you're lucky to get a day out of before you need to recharge it. And in the case of a power outage or a natural disaster like a hurricane or something like that, the cell phone,
They're reliable then.
Right.
They're reliable.
Yeah. So it's another tool in your communication arsenal to get alerted. Another thing a paging can do, it can be programmed for group paging. So let's say I need to get a hold of a team of 100 people. I'm not going to text 100 people one at a time. And to send them an email, even if you have them all on a group list, it might not get their attention. Well, you can send out a page, and when this thing starts beeping, it's going to get your attention.
Well, I noticed some are smaller. It looks like you could just type in a phone number in there, and then there's other ones that have a keyboard, like a BlackBerry technology.
Yeah, actually, this was the type that Maddie was trying to connect. It's got a keyboard. You can type an email or a text. So they don't work really quick like cell phones do, but in a case where phones aren't working or you want to have a backup to the phone, they work great. So the other thing about paging, it's relatively inexpensive. I mean, you're looking at a cell phone plan today, unlimited, you're looking at $45 a month on per person. The phones are usually about $1,000 a piece for an iPhone. You lose one of those, unless you have the insurance, you're paying another $9 a month for it. You're probably going to pay a small fortune to replace it. Even if you got the phone for free under contract, you still have to pay full boat if you lose it. So a pager, for $40 to $60 for most pagers, numeric pagers anyway, you can get a pager replaced. And we give pagers away free when you prepay 12 or 24 months. So up front, you're looking at about $155 and change a year to get a numeric pager with local coverage. So if you have, let's say, a landscaping business has 50 guys out mowing lawns and trimming bushes, these guys lose a phone, that's a lot of money. You lose a pager, it doesn't cost much to replace it.
Now, with the cell phone, you can have a list of all your favorites. Does the pager work the same way, where you may want to just
you have
a whole list of people?
On a two-way, you can put contacts.
Okay.
On a one-way, it's just getting a number. So
okay.
You're not communicating back, which brings up a good point. A lot of people today with the pandemic, they're concerned about personal privacy, the government tracking them, that type of thing, or any type of app tracking them. There's no GPS, there's no triangulation on a pager, so no one knows where you are with a pager. So for privacy reasons, which is one of the big reasons people get paging today. Another thing is there's situations where people have an issue with the cell phone frequency. It causes a problem. They get a tinnitus. They got ringing in their ears. They can't keep a phone near them. So using the pager in conjunction with a landline phone, or just turn the cell phone on when they need it and put it on speakerphone, that's where that comes in handy.
My father has an issue with cell phone next to his hearing aid.
Right.
He keeps it. I told him.
And you hear that ringing sometimes?
Use the speakerphone, Dad. That's the best way to communicate.
Okay.
So how are people I found you because of Matty the Techie.
Right.
So how are other people finding you, and how are you able
to
solicit the business?
Right. Other than referrals, the majority of people's Google searches. You type in pagers, we come up in the top 10 companies. There's a lot of companies selling specifics for fire pagers, which we don't offer currently, or restaurant pagers, which we do offer restaurant pagers. We call those in-house paging, but we don't. Our primary focus are the long-range pagers like the doctors wear, and that will work for miles or even nationwide if you wanted to pay for the extended coverage. Here's another thing. This is, in the last 5 years, telemarketers, spam phone calls. I was out to dinner the other night with a friend, and his phone literally went off 8 times in a 20-minute period. So it said spam or telemarketer, came up in the caller ID. So, you know, if you set your phone to only ring to known contacts, people in your phone directory, and give out your pager number, telemarketers can't get a hold of a pager if you're just typing a number. If you have voicemail on the pager, it's possible they can leave a spam recording, but for a regular numeric pager without voicemail, it's not going to go off. I mean, once in a blue moon, someone dials the wrong number, but normally they have to actually type in a number to set it off, so that's a big one. Another one is, you ever go into a store and there's a teenager behind the counter, he's texting away. He's not paying attention that there's 3 people in line waiting to ring out. No, he's doing Facebook and everything. You give the kid a pager. Take his phone away. He's not allowed to have it. You page him. So that's another thing. And children. You're going to give your 8-year-old a $1,000 smartphone. I mean, I know there are kids out there with them, but you give him a pager, he can use whoever's parents' phone's around if he has to make a call. Again, it's just like the landscaper losing a phone versus a pager, so it's an inexpensive way. Attorneys, you're in a meeting, you're charging your client $300 an hour or more. Are you going to like take your phone and then start texting away at $300 an hour? Someone pages it. I'm going to stop the clock, I just have to take a call, or not even bother, just don't even interrupt the meeting. So we have a lot of professionals who have client meetings where it's an inobtrusive way for someone to get a hold of them. And doctors, a big one is the middle of the night. They turn their phone off, all the social media alerts, the texting, the wrong numbers at 3 in the morning, it doesn't happen. Someone's having a heart attack, they page them, that piercing beep wakes them out of a sound sleep. And then it can, it works really well for medical. Plus, a lot of doctors don't want to give out their personal cell phone. They'd have patients calling them for every little, I got a pain on my neck, what should I do? It kind of sets up a roadblock and for the privacy reasons.
Right. So how easy is it to get pager, get the service going and get set up, and the terms, like 6 months, a year, 2 years, and if I have an older one, like maybe like a borderline antique one, can I get that?
Yeah.
Can I get that going, or can I actually trade an older guy in for and get a credit off?
That's a good question.
Get a credit off a new one.
We actually have a spot on our website to reconnect the pager. It's right up here. Reconnect your old pager online. You click on that. Explanation of what we can connect, what we need off the back of the pager. There's a number called a frequency. It's got 3 digits, a decimal point, 4 more digits. Might have letters M8Z after it. There's also a number called a cap code. It's a 7 or 9 digit number. That's like the electronic serial number of the pager. And then, assuming everything matches up, which most of the time it doesn't, because 30 years ago there were a lot of frequencies in use that aren't today, you just click on. So for example, 3-month numeric prepaid service order form. Click on there, and you fill in the blanks, the cap code, where you want your pager phone number local to, a few other questions. Fill it out. Within an hour, we usually have it activated if it's Monday through Friday when we're open up until 6 p.m. Eastern Time, otherwise it'll be the next day. And we also have a text bar on our website where you fill in your phone number, your cell phone number, and what your question is. And you can even text this message, you can text this photo. So we normally recommend, take a picture of the front and back of your page, and let us figure out the details. Okay. So you don't have to worry about which number is the cap code and that type of thing. So that really comes in handy. So your next question, to trade in. A lot of people have old pagers that can't be activated, or once they turn on, they put the battery in after it's been sitting in a sock drawer for 20 years. They notice there's segments missing, and something's not working, it's powering off and on by itself. So we take all these pagers and trade in. You can choose a 1 or 2 year plan, select the trade-in option on the order form, and we'll mail you a postage paid envelope with the pager you're ordering from us. When you get it, send it back, we'll add 3 months to your account. So your basically worthless pager is worth 3 months at $12.95 a month. It's got some value.
Well, I mean, in my mind, the benefits of having the cell phone, your own cell phone, and the pager, especially if you're in those jobs like attorneys or the doctor, is fantastic, because you have the coverage, the ability to shut off the other side of the world and still have your pager, still be able to get contacted if you need to.
Oh, that brings up another point. I've been in situations where my phone's going off one day. I got Facebook alerts, text messages, phone calls, other alerts from different websites and apps, and it becomes background noise. I actually put my phone on vibrate. So in my pocket I feel it vibrating, but I'm not really paying attention. And then 3 hours later, I'm like, oh my God, one of my friends texted me, I want to know if I want to go to a show that starts in an hour from now. if they page me, that's going to get my attention. So
Right.
and I don't use a physical pager, I use a pager app on my smartphone,
I
which,
was gonna ask that. If there's a way to connect or have your, like almost Bluetooth capability, if you're driving your car, can your pager's going off in the pocket, can it pop on your screen and see who's trying to contact
yeah,
you? Can you do it?
that hasn't come up yet, but I wouldn't doubt if they come up with an app on a phone. But I have the app work on my iWatch or Apple
Okay.
Watch, and it'll come up, and I'll just hit it, and I'll know to go to my phone to get the details. But so I'm not physically carrying a pager because I don't really need the differentiation of a separate device for my own purposes. But if my alarm goes off, I want to be notified, or if someone sends me someone needs to get a hold of me, it's going to come up. I'm just getting a message right now as we're speaking. But
Well, this has been fantastic because I came in here really not knowing much of anything and almost kind of in disbelief that it actually is
Right.
still in existence. But I can see the need for it in certain professions,
yes,
and the ability to shut off the outside world of your social context and still be able to be in communication with people that need me. So it's been a fantastic meeting, and I feel a lot more knowledgeable on this.
and I just thought of one other thing that people are concerned about: privacy and security. A lot of people can someone we actually have a handful of customers that have been hacked, where malware got in their phone and someone is getting a copy of every text message and who's calling on another phone. And people this is a serious, I never even thought about it, but people are like, listen, I've gone through 20 smartphones already. Everyone, somehow they're injecting malware and they're hacking my phone. And is there anything that can prevent that with a pager? And I'm like, there's a couple things. This is fairly new on the market. It's called the Sun Telecom T5 from a paging carrier called Spoke. It's an encrypted secure pager.
Now, would you pay extra for that, or
Yeah,
would it be?
it's an little bit extra.
feature?
It's an extra $10 a month versus a regular.
But it's
Alpha
worth it,
pager.
though. It's worth it to get the protection.
Right, and the way it works, if someone were to get all the information off the bat, they could actually clone this pager, and if they were within the coverage area, they could get a copy of every page going to this one. On this one, if they clone it, it's going to look like gibberish, just characters.
Oh, it gets encrypted or whatever. It
Right,
gets all
and then
kinds of-
for HIPAA compliance with medical, you can't really take a chance on someone's personal medical information.
Right,
thrown
right.
in. Now, if you're just getting a number, that's nothing. But if it's something with their medical
Yeah,
records,
Social Security and the records,
Right,
yeah, you don't
right.
want that. You don't want
so
that out
on
there,
the
yeah.
encrypted pager, that's where that comes in handy. And then we have an app that works on a smartphone. It's also encrypted. It's called the Zip It Confirm app. It works both on iOS and Android, and that smartphone app works. So in a case where they don't really need this physical pager, but they want to have the security and the encryption, that one works.
It's pretty involved technology, and there's a lot of safety and privacy, and it doesn't sound to be that expensive either.
No.
It's very reasonable.
It's
very
for the
reasonable.
cost, for a little bit more than the cost of insurance on a smartphone. You can carry a pager and use it when, I wouldn't give out my pager number to everybody, give it to the important people
Right.
in your life, if people need to get a hold of it.
Unless you're in the business where you have to give it out.
Right.
Where you have to.
So I think you had mentioned, how would you get a pager? PagersDirect.net, you go to our website, and you can, and pretty much everything we offer, if you click on one-way pagers, which are our most popular, there's a drop-down menu of all the different categories. We have the two-way pagers, the virtual paging, which is where the
One way, two way. So what are the differences between them? And is there a cost difference or anything like
Yeah,
that?
well, your one way is your least expensive. It's the type that just gets numbers on a numeric or an emailed word message.
Okay.
So this particular one has the email capability, has its own email address, as well as it can dial in the number from the phone. But somebody wants to send you a message, pick up a loaf of bread and milk at 7-Eleven on the way home, it'll come up.
So the one way is communication in. The
Right.
two way is you can do communication in and communication out.
Right. Now, the two-way, I have to be upfront. I tell people all the time, I said, don't expect it to work like a smartphone where it's going to be quick. It could take minutes.
Okay.
You could be in one part of a room and get no reception, walk 6 feet away and get a signal. In a lot of areas, there's no two-way reception. It's pretty much major cities around the U.S. So I don't recommend getting one of these in place of a smartphone.
Right.
But if you need a way of communicating back, it's worth a try.
In this part of the country with the casino, so I've noticed that sometimes you'll be walking and you won't have anything on your phone, and then walk 10 feet down the hall and all of a sudden, boom, 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 you feel like 3 different messages. I'm like, why didn't that come in?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned casinos. Not only what you had just described, casinos use them. The slot machine jackpot goes off. It's not like they're waiting for that light to come on. a page is actually sent from the slot machines to an attendant, so they know to.
They have a big one I've seen them with.
Yes.
Yeah. So they know exactly what machine it
Right.
is, so they can walk.
Yeah.
This is very enlightening, very interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
it's,
one-
I just didn't even realize a lot of this existed.
One other device, they don't make, these T900s, they haven't made them since the 2000s. Sun Telecom makes this device called the T52. It's identical to it, but it's brand new. It's more expensive. These are refurbished. We actually don't even have any more of these left that we can sell. The ones we have lying around are like returns, but this does the same thing, and it's brand new. It's got a full warranty.
Do you sell like the accessories, protection stuff, and all kinds of
We have,
stuff, different things? you have?
actually, I think, these are real popular. Lanyards, we've got the coiled bungees,
Oh wow.
and
Wow.
these are like a $9.95 insurance policy. It clips to the pager, this clips to your belt loop.
Oh
So if
yeah.
it falls off by accident, it's not lost.
Oh yeah. Wow.
And yeah, then we have the pager holsters, these things that they slide in and out of. People are always losing them, breaking them. We sell a ton of these. And these are all available on the website as well, in the pager accessory area.
Okay. Cool. It's been great. I mean, it's been nice meeting you, and you know your business, and you know what's the benefits are, and you really enlightened me and got me some knowledge here I did not have, which
Well,
is
John,
been very appreciative.
I appreciate you. Seem like an intelligent guy and very inquisitive. I normally, when people say you sell pagers, and they look at me and I'm like, that's it, that's the end of it. Like, who's going to use a pager today? But I'm hoping that I gave you some food for thought on who's using pagers and why.
Yeah, it's been great. I
Oh,
appreciate
John.
it, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks,
your
Jack.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, let me escort you out.
All right.
Thank you for coming to see us.
Oh,
Hope to see you again soon sometime.
Yep. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You take care.
All right, you too.
Get home
Thank you so
safely.
much.
You're very
All right.
welcome.